Now, Secret Wars, where everything ends up is, you know, Kang has rebuilt the multiverse in his image, and what does a world look like that's built, a composite of all these different multiverses? To go back to the Fantastic Four and Jonathan Hickman, there are two stories that are called Secret Wars. One is from the 1980s that was basically a Marvel Comics toy tie-in with, I believe, Kenner Toys, in which Kenner Toys was going to produce Marvel action figures. Marvel wanted to do something that was synergistic in terms of writing a story that could connect to that toy line. They did a focus group with a bunch of kids, and the two words that kids liked best for the title were secret and wars.
That's kind of awesome.
Yeah, and so Secret Wars is pretty much just it's like a 12-issue series that is basically just a big advertisement for toys. It's if you've ever seen, any commercial for toys and action figures in the 90s or the 80s where a kid is just playing with his action figures and mashing them up, that's kind of what Secret Wars is. I know Doctor Doom, is involved in a big villain way. He's not the main villain, but he kind of takes advantage. But, all of the Marvel heroes and villains are sent to a battle world in which they need to fight. And again, it's very much a kid playing with action figures. That's where we mainly get the introduction of the alien symbiote, the black costume for Spider-Man, Venom, is that what springs out of Secret Wars. But that is not going to be, I think, where the film Secret Wars, Avengers Secret Wars, takes its inspiration. Jonathan Hickman in 2015 did a revamped version of Secret Wars. Tied into his Reed Richards and Fantastic Four run, eventually there was going to be an incursion in the Marvel Comics universe. Jonathan Hickman wrote Fantastic Four, he wrote Avengers, and Avengers led right into Secret Wars. Is Doctor Doom and a couple of other characters took advantage of the incursion that was happening. When the multiverse exploded, basically, Doom was the one, not Kang. Doom was the one who rebuilt the multiverse in his image. Reed Richards was not part of that universe. He was married to Sue Richards. The Richards children were his kids, Doom's children. He made Johnny Storm into the son of the universe. He made Ben Grimm, the Thing, into like a big rock wall dividing parts of the universe. And his universe was called Battleworld. And it was different multiverses. Imagine just a planet made up of different universes. So they had their main Secret Wars book, and then they also had tie-in books that were stories told in each of these different multiverses. And so I think that's where maybe we can bring in the Fox characters, Wesley Snipes' Blade, get into other multiversal things. So eventually Reed Richards and Doctor Doom need to fight, and that results in a not a new battle world, but a cleaner version of the Marvel universe in which, certain characters from other universes are brought into the main Marvel universe, particularly Miles Morales, who started in a different universe, brought into the main universe. So I think, again, that story can potentially be very similar to the comics version, the film version, but maybe swap out Kang for Doctor Doom, and that would be a very similar story. So again, we started a little bit in Doctor Strange. It'll lead nicely into Fantastic Four, go into the Kang Dynasty, go into Secret Wars. And there might be a couple of other stops in other films, but I think, again, they're trying to do something big, and, it's not going to look the exact same as some of those comic stories, but I think that's the big move, is Kang versus... It could be Kang versus Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange seems like their main character, but I think... introduce Kang first, then introduce Reed Richards, and you get Reed Richards versus Kang for the future of the multiverse. And also, I think what Secret Wars affords Marvel is a nice clean exit. It allows them to restart. It allows them to refresh a little bit. when you're talking about multiversal stuff and alternate universes, I think that gives them, 17 years after the original beginning, after Iron Man, it gives them a 17-year franchise in which they say, what are we going to keep? What are we going to retain? What are we going to jettison? How do we move forward for the next 17 years of this story? And so I think it gives them a nice, clean opportunity to bring in characters like the mutants and the X-Men. Because I don't think we'll see X-Men until after the multiverse saga. I think you can very easily go from the multiverse saga into the mutant saga.
Gotcha.
Because I think the mutants they existed as their own cinematic universe, and I think that's Kevin Feige's White Whale. It's one of the first comic book movies that he started on as a producer or an associate producer or a low-level producer. But I think that's his White Whale, much more so than Fantastic Four. I think Kevin Feige is like, what can I really do with the X-Men? And there's hundreds of characters and dozens of storylines to pull from for the X-Men. Yeah. So,
if you like this video, like and subscribe. If you really like this video, visit synergylovescompany.com for the full audio podcast.